They say every room has a heartbeat, but in that boardroom, at that exact moment, the only thing I could hear was my own. A bone. Deep silence fell when the senior VP, Scott Carter, snapped his fingers, waved his empty mug in my face, and barked. "Coffee, black, now." I remember every face turning to watch. Smirks, raised eyebrows. Nobody expected what was about to happen. Not to them, not to me, not to this company. My name's Maya Brooks. I walked into the offices of Stratus Dynamics that morning with my hair pulled tight, my best Navy suit, and a folder full of notes, prepped to start my first official day working with the board. The lobby smelled like money and ambition. I'd grown up learning how to walk quietly, how to keep my head down when necessary. But that day, I wanted to stand tall. I wanted to make my mom proud. Instead, the first real acknowledgement I got in that room was Carter's coffee order. Tossed my way like I was invisible, except for my hands. I froze, right there by the polished glass table, a dozen suits staring me down. Was it my age? My skin? The fact that I was the only woman in the room? He didn't care. Scott Carter was the king of microaggressions, never said what he really meant, but you could feel it. "Don't just stand there. Miss, meeting's waiting." He barely glanced up. I took the mug, what else could I do, and forced a small, steady smile. "Yes, Mr. Carter." My voice sounded even to my own ears, but inside, I was burning. There's humiliation. And then there's that feeling when someone decides exactly who you are before you even open your mouth. I stepped out, mug in hand, every inch of me fighting the urge to scream or walk out and never look back. Out in the corridor, the fluorescent lights suddenly felt harsh. I ducked into the break room, staring at my own reflection in the coffee machine. All those old voices came flooding back. Classmates who'd said, "Maya, you're only here because they need diversity." Professors who looked surprised every time I answered a question right. I remembered my mother's tired hands, the nights she'd come home from cleaning offices. Her only dream for me was to find a place where I didn't have to bow my head for anyone. She never said it, but I saw the hope in her eyes every time I brought home another report card or college letter. This job was supposed to be that place. But right then, standing with a mug in my hand, I felt small, all over again. Did I overreact? Was I being difficult? My mind spun with doubts. Maybe I did look like an assistant. Maybe this was how the game was played. That's what Carter wanted. That's what men like Greg Martin, another manager, were counting on when he shoved a stack of papers at me near the elevator. "Copy these, will you? I need them ASAP." His voice dripped with impatience. "Actually, I'm not with—" "Sure, and I'm the CEO. Just do it." He walked off before I could finish. Then there was Laura Sims, queen of HR. "Early for catering staff, aren't you?" she said with a smirk, as I tried to make my way back to my office. "They like the coffee hot in there. Don't mess it up." Every single word a little jab. I pressed my lips together and kept moving. So I brewed Carter's coffee, hands shaking but not spilling a drop, and I walked that tray back down the corridor. I felt every eye on me as I set it on the table, right in front of him. "Faster next time, please. We don't have all day," he snapped. The others laughed quietly, turning away like nothing happened. I sat in the back, listening to Carter drone on about proven strategies, old ideas, recycled jargon, more charts than answers. No one challenged him. Why would they? He was Stratus's golden boy, the guy everyone feared and followed. But me, I'd seen enough. I thought of the letter sitting in my bag, the one that had arrived just 2 weeks ago. I almost didn't open it. A law firm seal. Thick, expensive paper. I read it 3 times before I believed it. My late father, Daniel Price, a man I'd never met, was co-founder of Stratus Dynamics. He'd left me 40% of the company. Just like that. My whole life shifted. I finally knew the truth behind all my mother's quiet sacrifices, and I also knew why she made me keep my head up, even when it felt impossible. That day, everything they thought they knew about me was about to flip. Carter launched into a grand pitch about maintaining tradition. Something inside me snapped, quietly, but firmly. I stood up, chair scraping loudly. "Do you have a question, miss?" he said, all icy condescension. "Actually, I do," I replied, and for the first time, my voice rang out, clear, calm, impossible to ignore. "As majority shareholder, I'd like to speak." You could hear the air leave the room. Carter's face turned the color of copy paper. "Excuse me?" he managed, trying to laugh it off. "That's not possible." I set down my folder and looked him straight in the eye. "My name is Maya Brooks. I'm the daughter of Daniel Price. My late father left me his shares. As of this morning, I control 40% of Stratus Dynamics." The shock that rolled around the table was delicious. One guy dropped his pen. Laura's eyes nearly fell out of her head, and Greg looked like he'd swallowed a stapler. For once. Scott Carter had nothing to say. I opened my laptop, projected my research onto the big screen, and laid out a plan. A real one. New tech, sustainability, employee wellness. I showed them exactly where Carter's leadership had left the company behind. Bleeding money, losing talent. We've got to change, or we'll end up obsolete. For the first time, they listened. I saw it in their faces. Some of them leaned forward. Some started taking notes. But Carter? He was steaming. "You may have the shares, but you don't have the experience," he blurted, voice shaking. "Don't be dazzled by a good story," he pleaded to the others. "We need someone proven." The CEO, Mr. Klein, a quiet, silver-haired man, finally stood up. "We'll let the board decide. A formal vote." Every hand in the room went up, except Carter's, 8-1. Mr. Klein nodded, then looked right at me. "Welcome to the helm, Ms. Brooks." For a second, the world slowed down. I saw Scott Carter's face. No anger left, just disbelief. Then something worse. Fear. He tried to keep his chin up, but you could see him sinking. He reached for his mug, but his hand was trembling, and he set it down with a dull thud. He left the room, silent, ignoring the outstretched hands of people who'd followed him for years. No one said a word. Even Laura looked away as he passed. I stood there, heart pounding, hands cold, realizing I'd just changed everything, not just for me, but for everyone who'd ever been told to know their place. Carter was gone, reputation in ruins, power stripped away, just another name in an old directory. The hallway felt different now. I watched through the glass as he disappeared into the elevator. No applause, no goodbyes, only the echo of his own disappointment trailing after him. The silence that followed was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. Here's the thing. It's not the headline moment that stays with you. It's the small, quiet shift. The end of someone else's arrogance. The reclaiming of your own dignity. That's what real victory feels like. All it took was a cup of coffee, a little patience, and never backing down from who I am. That's the lesson I carry with me, and the one I'll always share here on JR.